Good morning there, sweet peas. Basic Prepper Mom Myra. Sorry I've been a little MIA. Just had a lot going on with the holidays and stuff. Working on the house, getting everything situated. It just seems like there's more and more on my to-do list as the days go by. It's not going down, it's just going up. So just been kind of crazy busy. And there's just been a lot going on in general. So had to take a bit of a break every now and then and just kind of detach from what's going on out there and just go on with your life, basically. And that's kind of where I'm at. There's just so much going on right now, and there's so many different big pushes for things that are coming down the line that, to be honest, I don't know if we're going to stop it. I don't know if we have any recourse to say, okay, we're not doing this anymore. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do this. We're going to just stop it. We're going to go back to the way it was. I think that we're past that. I honestly think that no matter who gets voted in, no matter who gets elected, we are not going to change the way things are, because it's been put into place and the systems have been, the wheels are in motion. That's where I was trying to go. I was trying to think of that, that phrase. The wheels are in motion, and I think that it's just going to move forward. Now, is there a possibility of electing someone who may slow it down a little bit? Possibly. But I don't think it'll ever reverse, and I don't think we're ever going to look back and be like, I don't think we're ever going to be able to stop and go, okay, let's go back how it was about 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever. We're definitely beyond that. There's just so many things going on. The biggest thing that I've been hearing, ironically, the whole war situation, don't really hear a lot about that, right? You don't really hear about the Russia-Ukraine war. You're not hearing a whole lot. I mean, at least I'm not. But then again, I don't really tap into mainstream media, but don't really hear a whole lot on the Palestinian-Israel situation. Like, it's just weird to me. I'm sorry. It's just weird. You've got, like, a lot of the country that is in a war right now, or a lot of the world that is in a war right now, but we're not really hearing a whole lot about it. And maybe it's because the holidays and everybody was kind of taking a break and nobody really wanted to talk about it. I don't know. I do know that there was a ceasefire at one point. I don't know if that's still happening. There were some hostages that were released, but then I had seen a little blip about, no, they're not really releasing the other hostages because they said that Israel's not living up to their end of the bargain. So I don't even know what happened in that situation. But regardless, right here, right now, this is what we're dealing with. There's been a lot of talk amongst the preparedness type community about digital banking, about it already being here, which, to be, I mean, realistically, I see where they're coming from when they say, well, it's already here, it's already been happening. Cash is getting less and less, I don't want to say less and less valuable, but less and less useful, I guess, in our lives. And I'm going to be honest, I am one of the biggest offenders on this. Because, yes, it is so convenient when you go into a store, when you go to a drive-thru, when you go to wherever. It's so convenient to just have your card out. And of course, now you don't even have to like insert or swipe your card. You literally just can tap your card. I took my son to school yesterday. He has a class that's in down the hill a ways. And so my daughter and I take turns, because we have Mondays off. We take turns taking him to school and all that. So I took him yesterday, and he wanted to go and grab something to eat before we came back up the hill to the house. And I'm like, that's fine. So I went through a drive-thru, and literally he handed me his debit card, and it was just, okay, it's this amount, and literally beep, like that fast, and it went. Like, just tapped it that fast. And I was like, holy crap. that is my honey. Oh, it's my honey. He's my, sorry. I'm not gonna lie. My husband and I have been married for 26 years. We've been together for 30 years. Had to think about that. And I'm not gonna lie. Whenever I see him in his work truck, like, because he works all over the place, but when I see him in the work truck, I still get like this, like, little butterflies and be like, hey, sorry, I'm kind of a dork that way, but I love seeing him. Anywho, so back to digital banking. I totally got sidetracked on that. Sorry. I just love my husband. He drives me crazy sometimes, but I know I drive him crazy too. But anyway, but it is very convenient to just take that card and just tap it, like less than a second, and it's done. And for me to think that a transaction is that fast is super, super crazy to me. To think that you can pay for something and it's coming out of your bank that fast. Or if you don't have the money in the bank, it'll tell you that fast that the transaction's not approved. So it's very, sorry, the sun's gonna be really weird for a while. So it's very, very, very convenient, probably overly convenient. Of course, now you have the stores that you go into. There is a store, grocery store chain. It's a health food grocery store chain, super expensive, where you can just scan your palm and your palm will pay for your food. Like literally, it's just a palm scan, and it comes out of your bank account. So digital banking is definitely here. There is a bank that I had just heard of that is in, I don't know if it's one of the banks that are like in a grocery store. You know, sometimes they have the little branches in there. But it is a completely manless operation. You go into the branch, everything is via, teller, ATM or whatever. And then they have these little rooms, these little pods that you go into if you want to get a loan from that bank. Then you go into these like little pod areas so you have privacy, but you're not talking to an actual person. It is a computer screen that you're basically going through. So I think that the whole concept of digital banking or the whole purpose is that, yes, they want to get rid of the banks. They want to get rid of all of the banks. They want to have one central bank that is government run, that they can collect all the fees. That's basically another moneymaker. So instead of the banks collecting their fees and everything and making money individually, the government now will basically own your money, and that's who you pay to get your money. So not only are you being taxed on your money that you get from work and on your house or whatever you have, so not only are you paying taxes, but now you're going to be paying a government-owned banking facility all of their fees and everything too. So and not to mention the whole monitoring and what you can and can't get and blah blah blah. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, but I do think that the way that the banks have evolved and the way that the tellers and the debit cards and the way that technology has evolved, I think it was done very intentionally and very purposely. Wait, hold on. Put my little hat on here. Very purposely and intentionally, it was developed to streamline into digital banking, because basically nothing will change. And there's people out there, we have clients all the time that have banks that I have never even heard of. They'll come in and they'll do like a direct deposit or whatever, and need to pay their tax bill, whatever. And there's banks that I have never even heard of, and I'm like, oh, where's this? And they're like, well, they're not in this state. They're back east somewhere. So they don't even have a branch that they can go to here. They have an out-of-state bank. So I think that everything is being done very intentionally to make that transition easy, because okay, so you don't have a branch to go into, or maybe you have a branch, but it is all computered or all, monitors, whatever, automated. But I think it'll be so much easier because we've made this transition. There are people, less and less people that are taking and accepting checks. I know there's a few small businesses in my area that they've had some check issues. So now they don't take checks anymore. They're like cash or card only. That's it. So I don't think there's going to be a huge transition until it's going to be, nope, card only. That's it, card only. No cash at all, card only. And I think it'll be a very seamless transaction or seamless transition. Sorry, wrong word. Because we're so used to whipping out the cards and paying for everything. And that's how we're going to pay for everything, is by your card. Now, I think from there, it will transition to, well, we're going to kind of limit what you can get and what you can't. Do I think that that's going to happen tomorrow? No. Do I think that that's going to happen next year? No. Do I think that that may happen 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road? Possibly, but we'll kind of see where we're at by then. Do I think that by 2030 we might be looking at something? Possibly. I think we might begin to see the beginning of limiting and tracking, and not tracking. I think they already track you, but I do think that we've been set up for this technology progression so that when it does take effect, sorry, I have like a hair or something, fuzz that I keep feeling, that when technology does evolve that way, that everyone is less and I think even with the hand scan that came out, that's like so high tech, that's so weird, that I think that was kind of thrown in there to kind of distract people and say, well, now we're going to go to digital banking, everything is card. And so I just think that that's thrown in there as part of a distraction to make, when the transition does happen, not look so bad. Like it's okay, it's fine, it's not really that bad. So I do think that we're heading that direction. I don't know what that means for those who have stocked up with cash and have cash set aside. I don't know what that's going to mean for gold and silver, for your precious metals. I don't know what that's going to mean, how you're going to be able to do business if that happens. I don't know. I don't know where you're going to be able to do stuff. So definitely a lot of variables that are unknown, but I do think it is coming down the road, and I think that we have been kind of set up for this technology transition for a few years now, and I think that the more and more places that are now not taking this or not taking that, and let me tell you something, we've gone to events here like concerts and festivals and fairs and stuff like that, where they're a cashless event. Yes, you cannot go up and buy beer, alcohol, food at a food truck or a trailer with cash. They will have a sign posted that said this is a cashless event. And I think that's just kind of this transition of getting away from cash, which is kind of scary, but my girls have gone to cashless events. Well, we've gone to cashless events, and to be quite honest, at the time I'm like, well, that kind of sucks, but okay, I get it, whatever. And it's super convenient to just put your card and your license or your ID in your pocket and go in. You don't have to worry about cash or where you're going to stash it, or if you get change, or you don't have to, it's super easy to just whip that card out and pay for everything. And it is less light. It's harder. That's what I'm trying to, sorry, words are really difficult this morning. It's harder to track what you've spent when you're using a card. Whereas if you have cash, you've got $100 cash. Okay. Oh, well, now I have 50 left. Okay. Well, now I have 40 left. Well, now you're able to track it. When you have your card, you're less likely to keep track of actually what you're spending. So with a card, you tend to actually spend more money. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into that, but that's kind of marketing too. But I do think that we are going to see this weird transition continue, and I don't know how that's going to look. I think that it's going to put a lot of people out. I think it's going to put a lot of businesses out, because there's going to be certain businesses eventually that they're going to go, hey, you know what, we really don't need you. We're just going to kind of combine everything into this. So we don't really need you, because we're just going to put everything together over here. So there's a lot of aspects to digital currency that I can see going horribly wrong for our society, for our economy, for our businesses, for our people. But it is what it is. I don't know how to stop that. I don't think anybody can stop that train. I think there's so much of the world that's on board right now that that they're just going to push forward. So I was going to talk about some other stuff, but this is running a little long. I've got to get into work. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. Really start thinking about the whole digital currency situation and how that's going to affect you personally, how that's going to affect you business-wise, especially if you have a business, how that's going to affect your future and your finances and just basically living your life. So that's what I have to talk about today. Once again, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out. I hope you guys have a wonderful, amazing day, and we'll talk to you later.